Just after New Year's Eve, on January 3rd, Iowa voters will be the first to cast their votes for the presidential candidates. Well, last night in Des Moines, the Democrats were in full sales pitch mode, and Hillary Clinton's team was defending her against the kind of charges that play right into stereotypes of Clinton as a tightly controlled machine. At the Jefferson-Jackson dinner in Des Moines last night, 9,000 Democratic Party faithful.
There are some who will say they don't know where I stand. Well, I think you know better than that.
It is the rubber chicken event for Democrats in Iowa. In dueling speeches, no one held back.
When I am this party's nominee, my opponent will not be able to say that I voted for the war in Iraq.
On this stage, in this state, Hillary Clinton isn't so far out front. She and Barack Obama and John Edwards are virtually tied.
This is where something has to happen. They have to stop Hillary Clinton here, and so the challengers are pouring it on.
The latest line of attack, that Clinton's team has been planting questions in Iowa.
How does your plan combat climate change?
On Friday, Clinton's campaign confirmed a staffer had directed that college student to ask that question on global warming earlier this month. They said it wouldn't happen again. Then Saturday, a minister from Iowa said he'd been told by Clinton's Iowa political director to ask a question about funding for the Iraq War at an event last spring. The campaign says it was a casual conversation and not a planted question.
That's not a terribly wise thing to do.
Clinton's rivals ran with it.
My response is that's what George Bush does. George Bush goes to events that are staged, where people are screened, where they're only allowed to ask questions if the questions are favorable.
I think the biggest problem for the Clinton campaign is not whether they plant questions at events, it's the whole shifting positions of Hillary Clinton, which I think have now caught up with them.
It's criticism that plays well in Iowa. Caucus goers take their role very seriously and don't like any funny business.
They know they want to see these candidates perform, see how they stack up, so that when they do make a decision, that they're making the right choice.
Now, after the first report of a planted question on Friday, Clinton's campaign reached out to operatives for Clinton all across the country to do some damage control, make sure this would not happen again. And joining us live now is ABC's chief Washington correspondent, George Stephanopoulos. So, George, does it matter? Does this stick to her?
It's a problem. I mean, I think that no more plants edict is important, no question about that. But you heard John Edwards there. One of the reasons this hurts is because it invites comparisons to George W. Bush, who's also been accused of the same thing at town meetings. It's also, as you pointed out in your piece, insulting to Iowa voters who take their role very, very seriously in pressing the candidates with their questions. Even more than that, it feeds into this storyline that's been developing over the last several days that Senator Clinton is not being completely straight about her positions or about her approach to this campaign. And finally, I think the real problem here also is that it has all of the perils of a front-runner's campaign, playing it safe, playing it too cautious. This is emblematic of that.
New numbers out this morning in a different state, in New Hampshire. The Marist poll showing that Hillary Clinton is actually losing ground in New Hampshire. If you look at the trend here, her lead has shrunk from 21 points over Obama to now just 11 points over Obama. So she's battling for Iowa, and she's battling for New Hampshire, and she needs both of those states, doesn't she?
She doesn't have to win both, but I think she probably has to split them. I think the Clinton campaign believes they can survive a loss in Iowa, where it is even closer, as you point out, especially if that loss is to John Edwards, who's short on money. They think if Barack Obama wins in Iowa, then she is going to need to beat him back in New Hampshire. We're not sure exactly when that New Hampshire primary is going to be. It could be as short as 5 days after the Iowa caucuses. But because Hillary Clinton is so well known, because she has so much money, she can survive a loss in one of those first two states. If she lost the first two, though, that would be huge trouble.
Okay, George Stephanopoulos.